He claims the 25,100 mark intraday and closes below that by 3:30. Sensex rises almost 400 points. Significant outperformance by the broader market. IT stocks lead the up move with the index clocking in almost 2% gains.
The US House of Representatives has passed the Biosecure Act, which seeks to curb biotech imports from China by 2032. The move presents an opportunity for Indian pharma companies to fill that gap. Stocks of likely beneficiaries rally.
Tata Motors is calling for FAME 3 to be extended to light, medium and heavy commercial vehicles, while Maruti says it will launch a 500-kilometer range electric vehicle. This even as Ather Energy rides towards Dalal Street with an IPO filing. Hello and welcome to a fresh new edition of Markets Forward, your go-to program where we aim to get you everything you need as you look forward to a fresh new trading session. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleague Mangalam Malu. Mangalam, hi.
Hi, it was a good day of trade, right? I mean, the Nifty did hit that 25,100 mark, give or take a few points. It ended with a 100-point gain as well. The mid-caps, after underperformance yesterday, came back to the party.
No, they came back to the party and, we'll sort of talk about all of this. So let me just quickly run you through the indices, right? I mean, the Nifty will come up on your screen. At the day's high, cruising above the 25,100 level, 25,130 was the mark. And it seemed an exceptionally strong day. It was a strong day. I think you could cut off the exceptional part by close because we did give up about 80 points from the day's high. So that's the index, the Nifty. The Bank Nifty ending above an important sort of technical level. That's 51,222. That is a retracement of the recent fall, about 1/3% there. The clean winners were the mid and small cap indices. Those were both with 1% plus gains by close today. Now, in terms of sectors, IT with just under 2%, and Hormuz, of course, will outline all the stocks which moved in the IT space and, of course, otherwise in other parts of the market as well. So, all in all, a pretty decent session is what we had. And, of course, later tonight, there's the big event, which is the US presidential debate. It's not expected to move markets in any significant way. But remember, it did cause Joe Biden to step down. I mean, by all accounts, that's the debate after which calls for him to step away increased and Kamala Harris stepped in. So that is, of course, later tonight for us. I think it's going to be early morning when we are coming in. So that'll be closely watched. Market moving or not, I mean, I think an important cue. So there are two things. One is, of course, the rate decision by the Fed. The other is, of course, in 2 months, you'll have a new administration in the White House. Mangalam.
Well, the decline from highs today can perhaps be attributed to technical factors as well. There was a lot of call writing at the 25,000 mark for the Nifty, hoping for resistance at 25,100, which is why maybe the Nifty could not sustain above those levels. And then the Nifty Bank as well, closer to 51,400 thereabouts was the 50-day moving average, which could have been a bit of a resistance. And the third factor was the Nifty Financial Services expiry. So if you pull up the intraday chart of the Nifty Financial Services, the street was poised for a range between 23,650 and 23,700. The Financial Services Index did go below that 23,620 mark as well at one point, but recovered from those levels to end at the lower end of that range of 23,650. Tomorrow will be the Nifty Bank weekly options expiry, so to that extent, that will be important as well. What was heartening, however, was the way the mid-cap index came back after yesterday's underperformance. In fact, yesterday, there was the only index, the frontline index which ended with a cut of almost 0.25%, was off lows, but also an underperformer. And today, the crisscross lines come up for you. They did not criss or cross. There was a railway track sort of parallel distance maintained between the advances and the declines. There you see it, 1,700 stocks ended higher for about 700 stocks which ended lower. For most part of the day, the 3:1 distance was maintained with a lot more stocks moving higher. But let's tell you what we've lined up in today's show for you. We started the top movers and shakers of the day with Hormuz as always. Stock of the day is Tata Power, and IT and pharma stocks were also in focus. So stay tuned as we tell you the key reasons why these stocks took the spotlight today. CNBC-TV18's popular segment, DStreet Chatter, also on the show with Nimesh telling us why Polycab was buzzing today. And last but not the least, we prepare you for tomorrow by telling you all the key events to watch out for tomorrow's trading session. So, as we said, at the top itself, the first segment of the day. Hormas Fatakia joins in from the big wall to talk us through all the top stock movers of the day. Hormas.
Well, if the advanced decline ratio was a railway track, there were lots of stocks that were moving on those with absolute green signals, and starting off with the IT names as the sector of the day, you could call it that. And almost every constituent of the Nifty IT index ending higher today, starting off with Coforge with that upgrade that came in for the stock. LTI, Mindtree, Emphasis, Persistent, Infosys and TCS, the heavyweights, not in percentage terms, but substantial contributors to the Nifty upside in today's session. There was also some significant buying seen in a lot of these Tata group companies, and that is where TCS finds a mention. At one point, the stock was up almost 2%, but Tata Power led the charge for the Tata Group company, 6.5% higher, ending at the highest point of the day as well. So good going for Tata Power. Buying also seen in Tata Communications, Indian Hotels and Titan as well in today's session. Pharma had a good day. It was also because of a lot of news flow related events that came in for these pharma companies, with the passing of the Biosecure Act as well. Laurus Labs, Divi, Piramal Pharma, Syngene, almost all of them related to that. Piramal Pharma ending with gains of 10% in today's session, and Granules also having a good day in the office. A lot of stocks won orders. There were pacts that were signed. All of them had an impact today. ITI won another order today, another 5% added to that. HG Infra ending 7% higher. Good day for that. And IREDA and SJVN among the PSUs had a good day at the office. And lastly, volume buzzers in today's trading session. Stocks that did well on the back of very strong volumes. Paytm, Geo Financial. Prism Johnson was the one ending at the highest point of the day, almost 20% higher for Prism Johnson, and Suzlon along with Bharti Airtel also find a mention in the volume buzzers. Back to you guys.
I mean, thanks very much. Paytm came off from the day's highest point. At one point was up about 8%. Piramal Pharma, as Hormas mentions, rocket. I mean, actually starting about 315, it moved up very, very sharply. I mean, I think about a 5% move coming in the last 5 minutes, last 15 minutes or so of trade. So a fair bit of action and activity. Let's welcome in Jay Bala, who's of course with us to run us through some of the price action. Jay, thanks for waiting. Why don't we quickly summarize? Dipan is also with us. Dipan, hi. Good afternoon. Good to have you back.
Thank you.
Jay, quick sort of summary of the price action and what's the road ahead according to you? Nifty, Bank Nifty.
Yeah, I'm anticipating volatility to come in, and 24,770 would be the trigger point for me. And the Bank Nifty is weaker. As long as it stays above 5870, I think it should be okay. But only above 51,950, I will anticipate strength for the banking index. And the emerging theme for me, as I said in the earlier section, is food, clothing, and chemicals. So the broader market seems to be signaling that. So and the weakness probably, if it were to come through, it will come from Reliance. And reality is already an avoid for me. And autos and capital goods are middling. We don't want to see auto below 24,400 for bullishness, and we don't want to see capital goods below 69,200 for bullishness. If that were to sit in, we will see further weakness for the markets.
So the view is Bank Nifty needs to take out 51,950, 960. The Nifty, you think, has got a retest pending at the recent low, swing low, which is 24,750 or so. So some volatility basically is what Jay is alluding to. Dipan, coming to you with some specific stock questions, but Tata Motors is what we want to address first. Stock was up about 6%. Vivek is here to tell us what's happening and what the market was making of this one. Vivek, over to you. Vivek, take it away. Tata Power.
Good afternoon. That's right. So Tata Power was in focus today, one of the top gainers in the entire power pack, and was amongst the top gainers even in the FNO space. Basically last evening, the company gave an update to the exchanges where they said that they've commenced solar cell production at the 4.3 gigawatt solar cell and module manufacturing plant that the company has at Tirunelveli in Tamil Nadu. Remember, in October 2023, the company's module production had already been commissioned and had started. Now, just to give some perspective as to what exactly this means as far as Tata Power is concerned, and how exactly are analysts looking at this particular development. First up, remember, there was a recent listing of a company called Premier Energies, which is present in a very similar line of business. And we did a quick comparison of Tata Power's capacity and Premier Energies capacity. Tata Power, remember, total capacity, cell line of 6 gigawatt, module line of 4.5 gigawatt. Premier Energies, cell line 2 gigawatt and module of 3.36 gigawatt. Remember, when you're talking about Premier Energy, currently trading at a much higher valuation when you're looking at it at EV to EBITDA compared to what analysts were penciling in for Tata Power in their SOTP valuation as far as the renewable energy business is concerned. Let's have a look at the volume. Let's have a look at the order book. When you're talking about Premier Energies, the solar modules order book at a little over 3,800 crore, solar cell order book at around 1,900 crore. Tata Power, while they don't give a breakup, the solar EPC business order book at well over 15,600 crore. Now, given that particular fact and the kind of visibility, analysts, in the past have already started penciling in and giving a much higher valuation multiple as far as the renewable energy business is concerned. Remember, in July, UBS had initiated coverage on Tata Power. They'd given a buy rating. They have a target price of close to 510 rupees a share, while they go ahead and expect EBITDA share from renewables to reach around 50% in FY29 from just around 29% in FY24. And on the back of that, they actually value the growing renewable energy value chain at close to 20 times EV to EBITDA, while they go ahead and value the thermal part of the business at just around 10 times EV to EBITDA. On the back of that, you saw a strong surge, and people have now started giving a much higher multiple to the renewable part of Tata Power's solar energy business compared to what they were giving earlier, and that explains the kind of up move we saw in the stock today.
Absolutely, Vivek, up nearly 7% for today. But remember, Tata Power being, 1/10 the price that it was just about 4 years ago. So it's been a big mover. Nearly 10 times in the last 4 years. It continues to move higher. Brokerages continue to see reasons to be positive on that. Dipan, on this entire power space itself, Vivek did allude to the Premier listing. Over 140% was, the sort of listing that we saw on that stock as well. Obviously, on the IPO side of things, there have been a few extremes. But do you think that should be something that one should take note of when they value the solar business of Tata Power? And what are your thoughts on Tata Power?
No, I think I was also surprised with the kind of presentation brief one which was made. It looks very impressive from that point of view when you look at what Premier has to offer and what Tata Power already does. And do keep in mind that Tata Power has the advantage of a lot of captive business as well. And certainly the brand and execution will ascribe a premium to that as well. So definitely one should look at Tata Power more closely. The thing about Tata Power is it's a complicated company. It's got coal mines in Indonesia, has got that coastal power plant, which has not been Mundra, which has not been functioning optimally and has been surging losses over there. It has a distribution, transmission. So it's got many moving parts, which is why getting a perfect handle on the valuation of Tata Power is a bit difficult. But I think if more and more revenues are going to come from the renewable side, and that's going to grow at a significantly higher pace, then eventually you will have more stability in earnings, and that will mean a higher PE multiple. And considering the size and the kind of Tata brand corporate governance standards it brings to the table, this stock certainly looks very interesting and definitely worth going deeper into.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about IT as well, right? Because IT as a sector was the big gainer today. And I'm going to get to both Dipan and Jay for their views. But Rima is going to summarize the reason why the sector jumped. There was a report from Motilal today. Rima, take it away.
Thanks so much for that. So Motilal Oswal, as you pointed out, has come out with a very long thematic research in the technology sector, and they believe after a very long period when we saw discretionary spending getting depressed, cut back, we're now on a path of recovery. So they have 4 top picks in the sector. So they like the entire sector. They have no sell call, only buys in neutral. But the top 4 picks that they have are HCL Tech, LTI Mindtree, Persistent, and the 4th one is Coforge, where this company has, where Motilal Oswal has upgraded it to a buy with a target price of 8,100. As I said, no sell calls. They've got a few buy calls like TCS, Infosys, LTTS, Cyient. They've got a few neutral calls as well. Also, according to their deep dive survey, there are 3 sectors which will lead the recovery. One is healthcare, the second one is manufacturing, and the third one is BFSI. So healthcare faces no risk of disruption because of the rise of GCCs. GCCs are global captive centers. Secondly, BFSI benefits from the interest rate cutting cycle in the US, but there is that threat of GCCs. GCC, and manufacturing we know has done well. So HCL Tech is a beneficiary because they've got a high exposure to healthcare. LTI Mindtree, another stock that they like, benefits because its data engineering capabilities position it well to capture the Gen AI spending. Persistent has strong exposure to BFS and the healthcare sector. And Coforge, they've upgraded the valuation multiple, and they believe that Coforge will be able to extract the cost synergies from its Cigniti acquisition.
Right, that's about the IT space and why Coforge in particular was buzzing on the back of that Motilal Oswal note. But Jay, technically speaking, what are your thoughts on the IT index and what is it correlated to? Are there things that we need to keep in mind?
Yeah, I think the IT sector is running into an exhaustion point. I've been pointing out for the past few weeks that it's got important resistance at 4,300 to 4,400. The July or the last week high was about 43,200. And if there's going to be a new high, I think it will be a bull trap, but it's too early to preempt the market. The first warning sign will come if the Nifty IT index were to trade below 41,000. Although the reversal for the sector is about 37,700, but 41,000 will be an early warning signal for me. And obviously, I anticipate the frontline IT, which I have not been so bullish on, but I've been very bullish on the mid-cap and the small-cap IT names. I expect frontline IT to falter, and that will be the drag for the market. But watch out, 41,000 is an important warning signal.
Dipan, you have a pick here? IT services?
No, I think I like the list picked by Motilal Oswal, especially HCL Tech and Coforge. These are two companies which have generally outperformed the last upcycle, and Coforge especially, I think, very aggressive when it comes to marketing and pretty diversified revenue stream from various verticals. And these are cyclical businesses as well. There's some cyclicality, and if eventually spending is going to pick up, then these companies will certainly benefit. It's just where I'm stuck on an IT is the exact opportunity of artificial intelligence. And that's not getting very clear. Is it the size of that Y2K or internet of when companies went on the web or remote infrastructure management? How big is the opportunity? That is not very clear. And if that opportunity is really huge, then I think next 3-4 years will be extremely positive for IT companies. But if it's just a passing phase like what we saw in blockchain, then certainly I think there could be a few challenges. But by and large, it is a safe space to be in. The IT services companies, they're reasonably valued, good corporate governance standards, great distribution in terms of profits to dividends and buyback, and great value creators, I would say. So at a time when a lot of stocks are in the domestic side, industrials are trading at such rich PE multiples, this is one sector where I think the risk return certainly favors the investor.
All right, so that's your view on the IT space. HCL Tech also has the benefit of relatively lower valuations as against the other 4 peers on the frontline index itself. Let's talk about the next sector, which was clearly the sector of the day. We had Divi Labs, Laurus Labs, Pharma, all of them surging today. The pharmaceutical stocks were in focus as the US House of Representatives passed the Biosecure Act, which seeks to curb biotech imports from China by 2032. Does India benefit from it? Well, Ekta Batra joins in to tell us more. Ekta.
Well, thanks for that. The US House of Representatives has passed the much discussed Biosecure Act, which now heads to the Senate for a vote. The act seeks to reduce American dependence on Chinese biotech companies over the next 8 years and has specifically mentioned 5 Chinese firms, including the likes of Wuxi Biologics. Now, pharmaceutical companies doing business with Chinese biotech companies have already been exploring ways to diversify their supplier base. Indian companies such as Divi Labs, Syngene, Laurus Labs, Pharma and Newland have become focal points of possible beneficiaries. Mostly all the companies have already witnessed increased exploratory discussions but are still to see conversion to business. However, they do expect possible business over the longer term and expect it to possibly start with smaller projects first. Laurus Labs, for example, anticipates a gradual shift, while Pharma has noted an uptick in discussions. Syngene and Divi Labs seem to be at the forefront of the opportunity. Syngene has said that they are participating in pilot projects related to the China switch and have seen a 50% rise in requests for proposals in the quarter gone by. Divi's lab says that they are seeing opportunities in phase 2 and phase 3 and the possibility of being a second source in already commercialized drugs on the custom synthesis side. However, would take 3 to 4 years for everything to go through. Lastly, challenges for Indian companies include lagging behind in technology, experience, trust and competition from non-Chinese, non-Indian companies. So while positive, one has to see the opportunities materialize on a more tangible basis.
All right, Ekta, thanks a lot for that. One has to see the opportunities materialize on a more tangible basis. On that note, we'll thank both Jay and Dipan for joining us today with their valuable insights on stocks and sectors. Take a short break, come back. On the other side, we have the popular DStreet Chatter segment along with top market events to watch out for tomorrow.
Okay, welcome back. Let's tell you what DStreet Chatter looks like. And Nimesh, of course, gets you a sense of what's happening in markets, what happened in markets, and what to watch out for. Nimesh, what's on your list today?
Prashant, markets gave up marginally towards the end, but nevertheless, a strong day of trade. The mid-cap index is up 1%, and a lot of sectors like technology and pharma were buzzing in trade. In terms of individual names, the first stock is Polycab. That was buzzing on good volumes. I understand there are some strong buy flows at HNI desk, and the city is anticipating a large order win for the company very soon. So that's the first name. The second stock is Vindhya Tailoring, a small stock, thinly traded as well. Again, the stock has been pretty much flat throughout the year, but I understand a leading PM is an active seller and could be cleaned out very soon. So that's the second name. The third name is Brainbees Solution, the first cry. Even that stock has been consolidating post the listing. But now I understand there is some accumulation happening from larger FIs in Brainbees at these levels. And the last is Coforge. Big move in that name within the IT name was the biggest gainer today. There were multiple upgrades as well. But I understand there was very strong buy flows from larger FIs. So it looks like the FIs are quite active buyers in Coforge at these levels.
All right, Nimesh, thanks a lot for that. With that, we have come to the close of today's show on Markets Forward. And as we wrap up, here's our favorite events to watch segment. All the events you need to keep an eye out on for tomorrow's trading session. Ekta brings you all of them.
Well, yes, the most important data point to watch out for tomorrow would be the US August CPI data, which will be released, but we will be reacting to it come Thursday. But separately, in terms of the global space, we will have the Reuters Tankan survey from Japan. We will have vehicle sales as well as the new yuan loans coming in from China, as well as the M2 money supply. From the UK, GDP as well as industrial production to watch out for. And the ECB member McCall's speech will be held tomorrow as well. Back home, Saturn Credit Care, there will be a board meeting for proposal for raising funds via NCD on a private placement basis. And Bajaj Housing Finance's IPO will close for subscription tomorrow as well.
All right, Ekta, thank you very much for that. Well, it's goodbye on this edition of Markets Forward. From Mangal and me, everyone on the team, thank you for staying with us. More news and updates after a quick break.